AEW World Championship match. MJF versus Bryan Danielson for the world title in an Ironman match. Sensational match. Man, it was no secret that I was not looking forward to this match. I had my fair share of issues with the storyline going into this. I thought all the Regal stuff was actively detrimental to this thing, and a lot of the stuff with Danielson wrestling peaked weeks ago. And this was a MJF that was a Jekyll and Hyde, type, performance. Like, one week he's great, the next week he's just cutting completely unhinged promos just that have nothing to do with anything, and then the whole time it's just like, do I really want to watch these guys wrestle for an hour? And then like the bullshit happened right at the very end, and then the match came and it started off pretty slow, and I was like, I sent James a message like, I'm bored. And this is like after I got the super death match. I got the fun, like with the fatal 4-way and all that. Got the return with FTR, and then it started off slow, but I liked MJF's gear and his presentation coming out. Came back out with the devil mask, and then they just started like the match just kept getting more locked into what they were trying to do, and by the time they were rolling around in those near falls around like the 25-minute mark, they thought they would start like hitting Azumi. It was
they never like do it twice as fast then.
But yeah, after that I thought the match was like, it was really great, and it was the crowd was going insane down the stretch. It peaked perfectly, so maybe that slow start, it helped. Just for me, I'm looking for that 60 minutes, like, go. But from there, and then the use of the overtime period, and I wasn't even like too thrown off by the cheating at the end, because they did some really great near falls. I bought that one in overtime with the Busaiku knee. Some of they did, goofiness to get some of the pins, but we've seen Ironman matches and where people couldn't stop paying attention to the clock and shit. This crowd was engaged in this match from the start to the finish. So that's a
Ziggler and Seth Rollins.
That Ziggler and Seth Rollins, awful. They couldn't even handle 30 minutes, let alone 60. And then also they laid out the falls all weird too. So this was Danielson like kind of chasing behind at the end. This was like light years ahead of like most Iron Man matches. As far as Iron Man matches, is this, and then Kenny Omega and Pac. And those are, I would say, two different styles of matches. One of them 30 minutes, the other one 60. So I think that this was like, MJF doesn't wrestle often. I think we all know he's awesome, but like it takes so long to get to his shit, and he can check you out of what he's trying to do a lot of times. And we've covered that, and I guess we should talk about him throwing the drink on the little kid and all that too. And that was just like, I think it was unneeded. It was the lowest of his shtick, and it was just an embarrassment, quite frankly. And it was like, what are you doing? And not only like does the company have to cover for you doing that, your fellow wrestlers have to cover for you doing that. Like, Powerhouse Hobbs has to go out of his way to try to make this kid feel better now. They got to send Brody Lee's wife out there. Will Washington has to go over to the kid and give him an acclaimed foam finger. And then, just the visual of throwing it on a black child. Like, no, bro. Like, like this is not good heel work. This is not the 1970s. This is not any type of, like, I don't know what the fuck he thinks this is, because had he thrown that on somebody that, like I think he picked his spot. I don't think he thought the woman would do anything to him, but I'm telling you, that could have not ended for him very well, depending on who he would have thrown that at. I'm not trying to purport myself as some type of tough guy or anything, but I have a little sister that I brought to wrestling shows like when she was probably a little bit older than that. Like, had that happened to her, I would have like shoved him or something. I would have got ejected essentially. And I don't think that's unreasonable to say, especially if you're throwing like a drink at and it hits the child like in the eyes. I thought that visual, I thought that was very embarrassing for MJF to like do that. And I think it was even more embarrassing for people to try to defend it, like to think like this is good or whatever. Like this is like what he needs to do because like he didn't need that. You take that out of the match, is that match any less great? No, people are still going on about how great everything in this match was. But that was just a very low moment, and I think that he needs to go out of his way to make that right.
Okay, so that's a lot of stuff. First things first, the match for me, up until like the first 20 minutes, I was like, oh my god, why did they make this an hour? What the fuck are they thinking? In the last 20 minutes of regulation and overtime, I thought were incredible. So in general, I think it's worth it. It's a great match. Am I ever going to go back and watch it? Maybe. But that's a really long run time to get through them opening 20-25 minutes. But yeah. As far as MJF in that stunt, when I saw it, I initially thought, oh well, that's clearly a plant. And then you find out it was a plant, and similar thoughts to you was like, what the fuck were you thinking? Did you do this because you saw this was a woman that was like apparently with him, and you knew she wasn't gonna do anything to you because you're a jacked up man in the middle of a match? Like what are you doing? And yeah, like it was unacceptable. That was clearly a line that he should not have crossed. And like the line is like you can't get physical with anyone. Like you just can't. Like the only way it's fair game is if they put their hands on you first. They clearly did not. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. Like you said, I don't know any of the fallout from it. I haven't seen any of it. I just heard that like apparently it was tequila. It wasn't even like water. It was tequila that got in the kid's eyes. Yeah, just a terrible fucking decision. Shouldn't have done this shit. And as far as will he make amends? He probably won't because he'll play it into his character because that's shit he does. Same thing that happened with when he did that walk out of that thing at All In or All Out last year. So, or sorry, Double or Nothing last year. Like he doesn't care.
The kid got free tickets and they brought him backstage and stuff like that, but it don't feel like it's enough for me personally.
I don't know what's appropriate or whatever else. I just know that he shouldn't have done the shit.
Yeah. Like,
but yeah, the match is great.
Like, what is the upside of that? Like, what do you gain out of that? Like,
more heat, even though it's like, bro, in the finish, you're about to make Daniel Bryan tap out to his own fucking move. Like, I think you have enough heat in the night.
Yeah, we gotta talk about that, man. MJF talked about this man kids during the build, tapped him out to his own move. Danielson got to go home.
Why are you gonna go home?
He need to not show his face around these parts for a couple weeks.
I think he's fine. You guys gotta keep in mind, like he doesn't want to fucking win. He wants to put everybody else over.
No,
he's wanted to do that for years.
I ain't talking about getting put over. I'm talking about
kayfabe.
I'm talking about he got to go away. That man has been thoroughly embarrassed. The matter of fact, the Blackpool Combat Club as a staff, record label, and the crew was tapping out last night like hoes. The Blackpool Tap Out Club. Seamus Nova is saying so. Clear them out.
Yeah. It's probably not a good idea seeing your two of your 5 biggest baby faces. You both have them tap out. All right. Does MJF have a? He doesn't have a like a finisher like for beating someone with a pin, does he?
He's used the Heat Seeker, I think, before like that. I know
what you're talking about. Power driver.
Yeah, that power driver through the ropes thing.
His one would be the tombstone off the second rope, but he always sells he always like does it in a match where he sells the leg, so he does the spot and then
the diamond ring. That's funny.
I mean, yeah, that is his finish, diamond ring. Yeah, that is true.
James Brown Wyo says, was this getting more hoed than getting stack pinned by Roman? No, because at least he got hit with a fucking oxygen tank before that.
I don't remember. Doesn't matter.
But, yeah, incredible match though.
Look, we've seen Bryan Danielson take some awful losses. Like who could really tell? There's too many. There's too many to even know, right? There's too many to even think about. Hell, how did Miz beat him back in 2018?
I think he punched him with like brass knuckles. I think whatever Maurice gave him out of the purse. Yeah, right. I don't know what it was. If it was a
a brick, wasn't it?
It might have been a brick.
Yeah. No. There was a brick in the purse, but we never saw the brick in the purse after she hit him with the purse, or the purse hit him. Yeah, and then after that, like I was like, I bet there's a brick in that purse. And Maurice opened that shit up. Got bricks on me, bricks on me. My little say I got bricks on me. Anyway, yeah. So it was a great match. It was a great match. Where do you rank that as far as Danielson's best matches in AEW?
Up there.
Like it's funny because like he, like the whole weird thing's like he had never had some 5-star match from Meltzer apparently in his career until like he got to AEW and
about to get
like,
another one.
I think the stadium stamp, not stadium stampede, the Grand Slam match with Omega was Meltzer gave at 4 3/4.
No, he get at 5.
He get at 5. Okay, so then I think the Hangman match. I think he both gave those 4 3/4.
The first one he gave 5. The second one he gave 4 3/4.
Okay, so then so check this out. Then
Anarchy in the Arena.
Anarchy in the Arena. I think that got 5 stars, right?
Yep.
And then this is he's probably gonna throw 5 at this too.
At least.
Yeah. It's funny. Really funny. Yeah.
5-star Jake Hager, indeed.
Wow. That's like 5-star Lars.